Simone de Beauvoir was one of the most influential thinkers of the 20th century, a philosopher, novelist, and feminist whose work reshaped how we understand freedom, identity, and the human experience. Born in Paris in 1908, she rose to global prominence through her bold and unapologetic writings. Her most famous book, The Second Sex, challenged centuries of patriarchal thought and sparked a revolution in how the world viewed women, freedom, and existence. But de Beauvoir didn't just write about gender. She questioned what it means to live, to love, to suffer, and to face death. In her haunting novel, All Men Are Mortal, she uses the lens of immortality to explore the fragile meaning of life itself. She was a lifelong partner to Jean-Paul Sartre, but her voice was never in his shadow. She stood as an equal, fierce, brilliant, and timeless. This video honors her life, her mind, and her power to challenge everything we think we know about being human. In the elegant but anxious Paris of the 1930s, the curtain rises on a peculiar meeting. Regine, a glamorous and ambitious stage actress, finds herself captivated by an enigmatic man named Fosca, a stranger whose presence is so still, so detached, it seems as if time itself has no grip on him. Fosca doesn't flirt, he doesn't flatter. He watches life as though from the outside, unmoved by Regine's beauty or fame. She's used to admiration, yet here is someone who doesn't play the game. And that makes him irresistible. Intrigued, Regine pursues him not just out of desire, but for power, to make this man hers, to prove she can conquer even indifference. But Fosca's disinterest is not arrogance, it's exhaustion. As the chapter unfolds, subtle clues emerge. His knowledge of past centuries, his weariness with people, his cold understanding of emotions. Beneath his silence is a truth more shocking than any drama Regine has performed. Fosca is immortal. This chapter is not merely the start of a story, but the doorway into de Beauvoir's philosophical world. What would it mean to live forever? Would love still matter? Would art, ambition, or even suffering still hold meaning? Through this strange encounter, Simone de Beauvoir offers her first challenge to the reader. If death gives life urgency, what happens when death is removed? Fosca begins to speak. For the first time, Regine hears the truth behind the stranger's silence, and it is nothing like she imagined. His voice is calm, but every word carries centuries of grief. Born in 13th century Italy as Raymond Fosca, he once longed for power, justice, and a better world. He was a man of vision, idealistic, political, and deeply human. But when offered the gift of immortality through an alchemical elixir, he accepted without hesitation, believing he could shape history without the fear of death. At first, it felt like liberation. No more time limits, no more fear. But with each passing decade, the gift twisted into a curse. He watched everyone he loved age and die. He saw empires rise and crumble. He tried to make a difference, to lead, to fight, to protect, but the world kept moving, forgetting, repeating its mistakes. Now, centuries later, Fosca has become a shadow of himself. Time no longer surprises him. People no longer move him. Love, art, revolutions, all of it eventually fades into dust. Immortality didn't give him meaning. It stripped it away. As Regine listens, her obsession with fame begins to falter. What does it mean to be remembered if memory itself is temporary? What value does fame hold if time erases all names? Fosca's story is not just about living forever. It's about watching everything else die, again and again. Fosca takes us deeper into his past, to a time when ambition burned bright within him. As a nobleman in Renaissance Italy, he dreamed of uniting fractured cities, ending corruption, and leaving a legacy that would outlast time. Immortality, he believed, was the key to lasting power, the tool to shape a perfect society. But power proved to be fleeting, even for someone who could not die. Political alliances shifted, betrayals unfolded, kingdoms rose and collapsed in cycles. Every cause he joined, every ideal he championed, eventually dissolved into chaos or forgetfulness. No matter how hard he tried, the world refused to stay fixed. He would build, they would destroy. He would save, they would forget. Immortality didn't make him stronger. It made him a witness to humanity's endless repetition. Worse still, Fosca began to see that time erodes all meaning. The glory of battle faded. The speeches he once gave became lost in history. Even when he gained power, it never lasted. Immortality offered him no control, only the painful clarity that nothing endures. By the end of the chapter, Fosca is no longer driven by purpose. He begins to drift, disillusioned and alone. The man, who once fought to shape the world, now struggles to stay connected to it. Simone de Beauvoir uses this chapter to challenge the myth of eternal greatness. What if power means nothing without time to give it urgency? Fosca's journey stretches into the 18th and 19th centuries. He travels from one country to another, trying to find meaning in revolutions, in science, in art. Yet every time he gets close to connection, time snatches it away. He falls in love again. For a moment, it feels real. A woman sees past his silence and into his soul, but as always, she grows old while he remains unchanged. The romance slowly turns into sorrow. Love, he realizes, cannot survive imbalance. When one heart beats forever and the other fades, intimacy turns to distance. He tries friendship, mentoring young minds and thinkers, but generation after generation he watches them die. His knowledge deepens, but his world shrinks. Eventually, people begin to seem interchangeable. Names change, faces shift, but their actions repeat. He stops remembering most of them. His body does not age, but his soul grows heavy. The weight of memory becomes unbearable. Immortality is no longer a mystery. It's a sentence. Time doesn't just pass, it erases. And in that erasure, Fosca loses himself. Simone de Beauvoir uses this chapter to explore emotional isolation. Without shared time, there's no shared life. Love, meaning, even identity require the presence of death, a boundary to give them shape. Fosca is not simply alone, he is unreachable. Fosca now finds himself no longer living, but enduring. Time is no longer a path, but a loop. Every city he visits feels familiar. Every war echoes a previous one. He has seen revolutions born and buried, ideals rise and collapse. The world moves, but he stands still. More than anything, he is haunted by memory. His mind holds centuries of images, faces of lovers, screams of battlefields, the soft voices of children now long gone. Memory doesn't comfort him, it crushes him. The more he remembers, the less he feels. His emotions grow numb under the weight of so much loss. He begins to withdraw from the world, avoiding relationships, politics, and even beauty. Art no longer inspires him. Nature no longer soothes him. The infinite becomes meaningless. With no end, there is no urgency. Without urgency, there is no purpose. Fosca tries to forget, but forgetting feels like a betrayal of those he once loved, of who he once was. And so he's trapped, remembering too much to live fully, and yet not remembering enough to stay human. Simone de Beauvoir uses this chapter to reveal the dark cost of memory without death. Our memories define us, but only within the context of a finite life. Without death, Memory becomes noise, not meaning. Fosca is no longer immortal. He is a graveyard of time. As centuries unfold before Fosca's eyes, the very idea of meaning begins to unravel. What once felt sacred, truth, justice, love, now appears fragile, temporary, and deeply human. These are not eternal ideals, he realizes, but fleeting constructions shaped by mortal lives. Fosca no longer believes in history's progress. He has seen civilizations advance and then destroy themselves. Technology grows, but human cruelty remains unchanged. For every glimpse of beauty, there is brutality. For every enlightenment, a new war. There is no upward path, only circles. He tries to lose himself in philosophy, reading thinkers across generations. Some words echo his pain, others feel empty. Without the urgency of death, ideas lose their edge. Even wisdom becomes dull when nothing is at stake. Fosca also attempts solitude in nature, living in remote places, far from the noise of cities. But even nature loses its wonder. Seasons repeat endlessly. Sunsets blur into one another. The world is beautiful, but without death, it has no frame. Simone de Beauvoir uses this chapter to explore existential exhaustion. When nothing ends, nothing truly matters. Mortality is not just a limit. It's what gives life shape, tension, and meaning. Fosca is no longer seeking purpose. He is drifting, lost in the fog of forever. In the final chapter, Fosca returns to the present, to the moment where the novel began. Regine, the actress he met in the beginning, is still fascinated by him. She sees in him a mystery, a depth she cannot name. But Fosca, after centuries of wandering, now fully understands. His immortality has become a curse. He finally tells Regine the truth, not just that he cannot die, but that he has seen the rise and fall of everything. That love, beauty, politics, all dissolve with time. That without death, joy is dulled and pain never ends. At first, she doesn't believe him. Then, she becomes afraid. She begs him to pretend, to lie, to say he's normal. But Fosca cannot go back. His soul is tired. His memories are endless. He wants one thing: to be forgotten. Simone de Beauvoir closes the novel not with drama, but with quiet sorrow. Fosca walks away, not in anger, but in resignation. He will continue to exist, but not to live. No longer seeking love or truth, only silence. The final message is profound. It is mortality that makes us human. Our lives matter because they end. The finiteness of time is not a flaw, but the very source of beauty and meaning. Fosca's immortality is not a dream. It's a mirror, showing us why our limited time is a gift.